Hi everyone, welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Harneet Kaur, and today we have a fabulous Helen, the CEO of Totem Learning. What an exciting venture you have, Helen. I was reading about you and I was like, okay, let me start doing it. It's so exciting. So why don't you tell us more about you and Totem Learning?
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here. So at Totem Learning, we bring learning to life through the power of games. My background is in psychology and behavioral sciences, and I really believe that there's so much that we can learn from games and so much value they can bring to how we learn and develop our capabilities. Um, I've worked in the space for over 20 years, all the way through from being a researcher, looking at how effective these tools can be and why they work, through to managing and delivering projects and products for clients in sectors of healthcare, energy, finance, you name it. We've probably
Oh,
developed a
wow.
game for it.
Oh, that would be interesting. I mean, having a background in finance, I wonder, how, because sometimes, these subjects are very boring. And, when you bring games, the perspective of getting games and learning through games is quite interesting, not just for kids, for adults as well. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. It just allows you to practice the skill and really immerse yourself in a very safe situation and can, bring those subjects that are traditionally a little bit dry or difficult to engage with. It just brings them to life.
oh, wonderful. So, Helen, I mean, you've been working in this industry. What inspired you to start your own journey? You start your own business in this field.
Yeah, so I'm a gamer myself. I love games. I grew up in the 80s where games started to enter our homes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was obviously a wonderful time to grow up in. But I also have a very long-term passion for psychology. And from I think the age of 12, I knew I wanted to pursue something with psychology, and then games just naturally kind of fitted into that. It's been the center of my whole career. And when we started Totem, we had a real passion, a real belief that this can make a difference to
Mm-hmm.
people's ability to learn new skills. And obviously the evidence of having seen it work in so many other areas.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, generally when I ask this, there is not specific one thing, but totem learning has been growing, and it's an amazing journey to see you from where you started to where you are. What do you think? What would you like to attribute your growth to?
Yeah, there's not one thing.
Yeah.
It's a long list. um, I think passion has played a real big part of it. So not just my passion for the subject, but everyone who works for us and with us, so employees and clients, we all believe in the mission, and we all believe in what we're trying to achieve. I think and so the team, the team and the support network around the business has been absolutely crucial. But yeah, coupled with that, a whole load of tenacity and determination to
Yeah.
keep going and grow and make the company a success.
Yeah, I'm sure that that is definitely there. And, every business owner I speak to, there is
Mm,
some sort of tenacity and a resilient mindset behind it because it's like every day there is some challenge. You go down, you go up, you stand up again and again. And, that's how life is at the end of the
mhm.
day. Wonderful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
It's not a straight.
yeah. So how has been your journey, especially as an employer? Because working for someone and then starting your own business, it's all different, new game in itself. So, as an employer, what has been your biggest learning?
I think I've learned so much over the years. One of the key things I think, reflecting on it, would be to remain flexible, not always be flexible. So have a plan, but be prepared for that plan to change and adjust, and not just go with the flow, but to be very agile and to adjust as you go, because business is so unpredictable, especially with everything that's going on in the world, and that has been going on with COVID and Brexit and various other international events that are happening. Your plans will always change. So I think one of the biggest learnings that I've had is to keep flexibility kind of front and center in the strategy.
It's very interesting. In one of the interviews when I was doing, and then the same thing, came up saying, because the business change, why do we plan anyways? Because they're meant to change. So, and I was reflecting on that, okay, why? But I think after having some sort of discussion, we came to a conclusion that when you do the process of planning, you get so much insights, and you're always in a better position to be flexible and agile when you do the planning process. What do you think of that?
Yeah, because planning helps you reflect on the goal and the steps you need to get there, and you absolutely need to be aware of all the things that could happen, and the directions that you could go, I think, to be able to be truly flexible. Because if you don't plan, then you don't have that foresight, and you don't have that that information to hand. So yeah, definitely always worth having a plan, but don't be afraid to deviate from that plan.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've heard that. Don't be afraid. I think as a business owner, that's one of the key things. Don't be afraid. So, Helen, you and I were discussing about this. I know you're a mom of a young child. How do you cope up with, how do you manage the personal, the work life, there with so many different challenges around? How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's especially now that we've all got smartphones and they go everywhere with us, and work is on your phone, and you can be reached in so many different ways. So, WhatsApp, Slack, email, phone, text, it's hard to switch off. But I've always been quite good at segmenting work and personal life. I've always put a lot of value on my work, but also value on my my personal time. So I am quite good at segmenting and switching off, and of course kids help, because once you you have to pick them up from school or nursery, then there is no choice. You have to go. And then when you're in their presence, they need your attention. So so that kind of does really help. And I think keeping it front and center to your mind that life is quite fleeting. I think there have been certain things that have happened in my life where we kind of realized that things change very quickly, and you have to really be in the moment and give that moment your full attention. If you're always in work mode, you are going to miss so much about your family, or about your health, or potential hobbies or passions, or something else that's going on. So so yeah, I've just always found myself to have a very nice balance between work and personal life.
And I've just taken a note. I think that was a sort of we call it BFO, blinding flashes of the obvious, that tube light moment when you said be in the moment, because sometimes we plan. We are, all of us are in a habit of planning ahead and thinking about the past or planning for the future, and we sort of miss the present and being in that moment and enjoying that very moment itself.
Absolutely, because before you know it, it's gone, and then
exactly,
you never get it back. So
yeah. So if we reflect on, when I speak to business owners, and every business faces certain challenges, and most of the challenges I've spoken to, they fall in either of the three categories. It could be team, time, or money. Yeah. So if you look at Totem, where do you see the challenge?
That's a good question. Well, there's probably a little bit of challenge in all three, I'm going to be honest. You know, I think there's certainly time at the moment, because I'm working part-time, being a new mum, 3 days a week is certainly a challenge for me, trying to fit everything into those 3 days. And trying to work out what the priorities are. That's certainly a challenge, because we want to do so much. Yeah, and yeah, money, it always comes down to, you need project sponsors to do the things you want to do. So, you know, again, we've got grand visions. We want to work in certain industries with certain clients, but you've got to find a sponsor for that kind of work. We know that there's so much good we could do in the world. But you know, we've all got to earn a living, haven't we? And you know, part of what we want to do is give back. So and then I've got to say that the team is marvelous. I love the people that we work with, the current team members, the past team members. I look forward to meeting future team members. You know, they are really a joy, and they are so talented. And yeah, they make coming to work every day, you know, something to look forward to.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is so good, because a good team can only build the good business, because that's the circle. You know, as a business owner, you can't build the business. You build a great team that in turn build a great business.
Exactly. Without your team, you haven't got a business. It's unless you're a one-man band or a one-woman band. It's you know, the team is the foundation of everything. And yeah, so it's really important for me that they're happy with what they're doing, with the quality of the work that we're putting out there, with the topics that we work on. Yeah, that's really front and center to what we do.
I mean, you definitely have a very strong team, Helen. So, you know, what sort of qualities do you look at people, or how do you foster a positive work environment within your organization?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question, because you can hire and build your team based on skills, and that's good. That's really important to look at, is how capable are these people. But you can always train skills. You can always learn new skills. So what we look for that's just as important is the attitude as a person.
Absolutely.
So because you can't train attitude as easily. So it's, you know, do they have that kind of positive problem solving mindset, where they can, you know, approach a problem from lots of different directions, think about how they can move towards a solution, and you know, are they that kind of, I suppose, flexible, agile kind of person who can help us move forward with our mission. And I think that's just as important as if they can do the actual work that we're asking them to do, because in business, as we've talked about, things change. We need to be flexible, and so you need that kind of foundation in that person. And then how to build a positive culture, I suppose for us it comes down to trust. I think that's really important. I've worked for people who aren't as transparent, and they're, as an employee, you're sat there wondering what's going on, what's happening behind the closed door in the boardroom, and it leaves you feeling a little bit uncertain. So at Totem, we always try and be as transparent as we possibly can with the strategy, with the numbers, with, you know, who we're talking to, what's going on. And that builds a very good level of trust with your employees. And when they trust you, then they'll, I think, bring more to the more work. So I can't imagine running a business in any other way, personally.
Yeah, and that is so true, because then each member of your team knows that how they're making a difference, because it's an open sort of an environment, and everyone knows everything. That is so important. So Helen, what's the vision for Totem?
So we want to make great serious games, great simulations. I want to make the world more playful. I want to see more games used in organizations, and I want to see the end of poor learning. There's so much bad learning material out there, and it doesn't have to be that way. So so we are growing our base in several sectors: asset intensive, in corporate training, in healthcare, and bringing more learning to life with games.
Lovely. Love that. That's a beautiful vision. And I think with people like you, that will definitely happen sooner than later.
Fingers crossed.
The last question, and that this is one is my favorite. So, if you have to start the business from the scratch again, what would you do differently this time?
That's a good question again. I've learned so much over the years. I've made so many mistakes as well. I think as all business owners we have. I think I would look at positioning us differently. So this is probably a common thing that lots of entrepreneurs do, in that they focus on the features of your product and the actual mechanics of what it is. But in reality, nobody cares. They care about what you can do for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a hard thing to learn. So I think going back, I wouldn't change much about how we set up or how we started working, or, it would be more about how we communicated our value. And doing that earlier, learning those lessons earlier on, really. So less about us and more about the client and the way that we can take their pain away.
Oh, wonderful. That's so beautiful. That's a beautiful lesson. Helen, it was wonderful speaking to you. And the last one, if you have anything to share with the viewers, which probably we have not covered or I've not asked, feel free to share that.
No, I don't know. I would just say that starting a business is hard, but I would say if you've got a passion and you've got a belief, then absolutely go for it, and don't be afraid of failure. Life is one big experiment. So why not, grab the opportunity if you have it and have a go.
Yeah. And then there are people to help you, ask for help wherever needed, because all of us are expert in our own respective fields and we're not meant to do everything. So that is a great advice, Helen. Thank you so much for joining us today. And yes, fingers crossed. I think Totem Learning will definitely achieve the vision which is placed, and making the world a playful place, learning with games. I think that's definitely something great.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.